yes, I know you raped your sister and killed 25 people, but you're absolved of all your sins. But since it was such a heavy sin, I'm gonna need more money.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
To see how that actually sounds right now?
No, I'm just gonna go with it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. Let's go with it. If Mikey sounds far away, nobody cares.
Ouch.
Nobody cares anyway.
Holy fuck, okay.
Let's be honest.
Oh, I know.
So we're going for it. Fine.
Okay, so I've wanted to do this video for a while, and this is gonna be our very first round table.
Hi.
Because we tried to do round tables before.
Yeah.
And electricity and hurricanes and God.
Motherfucking nature.
God
was on her period.
Does not like us. So we thought since God doesn't like us so much,
oh God,
that we'd start off with religion and video games. I've wanted to talk about this subject for a while, and the reason I say that is my perception of religion and video games is that fucking video games and religion don't like each other.
No, not at all.
Okay, it's like, so, every major game that I've played that had anything to do with religion was just fucking evil.
Yeah, it always ended up being a source of negativity and bad stuff.
Right, and they usually portray it in a positive light to start off, where they're like, oh, this church takes care of us all. And as you go through the story, you realize that they're like the fucking source of all the fucking evil in the entire game.
I am the sea of chaos, the source of all chaos, the lord of nightmares.
Alright, so why don't you give us some of your examples on big games that...
I'm gonna go right with a favorite that me and Mikey share, Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
War of the Lions.
Yep.
Whoa.
All of the fucking people who have the stones are fucking evil, and they're aligned with the church.
Now, the most interesting part that I find about that particular one is how well they mirror a specific church, Catholicism.
Oh, okay.
Because of how strict they are, and because they have like they have like tiers of their preachers and ministers and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you got cardinals and shit like
right.
that.
Yeah, they actually say cardinals.
And how strict they are also mirrors what Catholics are like as well.
Okay.
Generally speaking. So to me, and like the big cathedrals and all those things kind of echoes back to sort of what they're mirroring in the real life. So it's sort of like, it sort of makes sense, and it's that one I look at as more of a cautionary tale. Obviously, they go real bad and real corrupt.
As a general, it's not an opinion in that game that they are the evil in that game.
Right, yeah.
There's no opinion there. It is they are the bad guys.
Yes.
It's not subjective at all. It's
It's
pretty black and white.
You have the white lion and the black lion, the families and whatnot, and then you have the church. It's the third party that's supposed to be neutral, but then as you progress through the game, you learn that the church is pulling a lot of strings, and then you have a lot of the major bad guys and bosses and stuff coming out of people from the church. And you're like, holy shit, and then you get to the end and you're like, whoa.
But right off the bat, that game in particular, you're a heretic.
Yes.
You're fucking labeled as a heretic.
You are, yeah.
Right off the bat.
Which also echoes back to Catholics back in the day and how powerful they were in those types of churches.
Inquisition.
Right, and how they would label somebody, and that meant things for all society.
So
yeah, if you were excommunicated from the church back in the day, that was fucking it for you.
Yeah, but so I want to tell you real quick, taking a step back from that same exact idea. When I first decided personally that I'm not big on religion, assigned reading of the Canterbury Tales.
Okay.
In school.
I don't remember it.
Okay, so in the Canterbury Tales, a real quick version of it, okay?
Which is neither, because not everybody watching this is going to know either.
So the Canterbury Tales, they have, like, stories of everybody on this trip, okay? And one of the people on there is a couple of the people on there are rabbis slash priests, etc. And they're drunkards.
Yeah.
Okay. They're first of all they're just like lushes. They go to bars, indulge, blah blah blah. And the way they get their money is they absolve people of their sins.
Oh yeah. That'll do it.
So it's like
plenary indulgence.
Yeah, it's like, you know, yes, I know you raped your sister and killed 25 people, but, you know, you're absolved of all your sins. But since it was such a heavy sin, I'm going to need more money.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that just sat bad with me right off the bat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So going with that, we'll go to another set of games. And this one's like a double-edged, okay? So in some Castlevanias, as Pinto was saying earlier today in a private conversation, in some Castlevanias, the religion symbol is a positive symbol.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, like crosses actually are a very powerful weapon, especially when Richter Belmont uses it, and his item crash just... Once he has the cross, he just kills everything on the screen with that.
Right, and even in Castlevania 1, yeah.
The holy water.
Yeah, holy water is the bane of evil.
And you have the cross.
And the cross that goes...
Oh, and that cross
and
too,
clears the whole
It
stage.
clears the whole stage, yeah.
So, but on a side note, like you were saying, Castlevania 2 and whatnot, you go to the church to heal.
Right.
That's
Yes.
what Pinto was saying.
Exactly. You talk to the priest and he heals your wounds.
Right.
You don't go to a hospital.
So, Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Yeah.
The church is representative by a secret order of people that maintain balance. Right. And you're like, okay, well, that's not so bad. At the same time, what happens is that they go out of their way, that they're a secret order, they're killing people, they're manipulating the world, they're doing God's work.
Right.
And whoever's texting me can die in a fire.
Well, you can also turn off your text.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do that real quick.
Silence it.
So,
But then again, a lot of the times I notice, and I'm sorry to interject.
Go ahead.
But it's very rare that they say that whatever deity itself is evil. It's the organization of religion.
It's the people.
It's
from
the
within.
people. It's the men inside the that do it.
So I'm going to take
only
that
one example where I can say that God Himself is evil, but I'll get to that in a bit.
So I'm going to take that exact point and I'm going to bend it a little bit.
Okay.
Ultima 7.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, the religion that
Lord British
that swept over Britannia
in Ultima 4.
Go ahead.
Yeah, is a complete fucking lie. You find out in Ultima 7 that it's completely fucking wrong, that there are 3 Erpents of order, chaos, and balance, and those are the actual deities that rule creation in that universe. So for 3 games of following all the virtues and everything like that, it was all fucking bullshit.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're the avatar of this religion, which makes it even worse. So, especially in Ultima 6, because you did this whole campaign of mass genocide against the goblins that live in the underworld who were dying.
Right. So
Yeah.
so do you remember the bad guy in Ultima 7? The red dude?
Yeah, the Guardian.
Yeah, the Guardian. Okay, the Guardian
Yes.
is the evil. It's like the prime evil.
Right.
Okay? He's like El Diablo in that fucking game. And he's the one manipulating and controlling the church.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Breath of Fire 2, another example of bad religion, is they're manipulating and what's going on, and every time you go to the church, they're like, no, nothing's going bad here.
Yeah.
So I challenge you guys on the other side of the table. Is there any good religion ones in video games? Because here's my thing, okay? Well, a lot of these games we're talking about, they were produced by Japan.
Right.
Do you think it was one of those things that just Japan doesn't like Christianity and religion coming into them? Because they have a history. I mean, history,
yes.
they strongly opposed the Christianity and whatnot coming into Japan.
Right.
Yeah, there was a huge influx of it. And
So is this just the result of the negativity? Because these are Japanese created games, that they're just pushing that negativity over into the video games?
Personally, I think it's twofold.
Okay.
I think, first off, yes to that question. Absolutely, I think it is. Because it's not of their culture. It's another culture that got pushed on them because of world events and things like that. It affected a lot of their culture that we could talk about. But for this specifically, I think, they saw that and they went, hey, that's not what we have. That's not homegrown. That's not from here. That's from outside. So absolutely, I think taking it and turning it into a bad thing is just their way of kind of getting back at it and not liking it. But I think even if you just look at American-made movies, how many times do we have any sort of semi-quasi-religious movie turning out like the church, which is supposed to be for good, turns out to be used for evil and things like that? And I think, honestly, it becomes part of just a story writing trope.
So is it a plot device, Pinto?
Well, there is a trope called light is not good.
So there you go. I think that, that just...
What about yin and yang, where it's like, in the best, in the core of good is evil, and in the core of evil is good.
In the place of evil, there you shall find faith.
Thou
Something
art
like that.
impure.
I think that's a good way to analyze and think about it. I think just too many times it is just such an easy trope, because you're just any kind of it'd be like if we found out something about the Poke Centers in Pokemon, that those aren't actually good, like they're sapping the souls from Pokemon.
Or using the old ones for meat or some shit.
Right. Like
Soylent Green.
The softest meat is in the belly, Misty.
So it's like, you could easily look at that and go, oh, but it would match a trope to say they're there to do good, but secretly they're doing bad. And I think that is just such a common trope that it's an easy target.
Okay, so like I said, to play devil's advocate,
yeah.
to play devil's advocate, can either of you name like a game or two, that the church is just this fantastic thing that was just so helpful throughout the game?
Unfortunately, I really don't pay attention to that kind of
Dragon
thing.
Quest.
Okay, Dragon Quest, was it?
Yeah, they weren't like a big prominent presence, but anytime you went to a church, not only could you save your game, it removed curses,
Okay.
status ailments, stuff like that.
Okay.
So
Castlevania was in this. I know we offhandedly mentioned the beginning,
Yeah.
but Castlevania 1 and 2, you had.
But then again, that wasn't really a whole thing about the church being good. That was really more like your holy water and everything else. That was, I want to say, that's more direct influence of the deity itself.
I thought
There are plenty of games with holy powers and holy attacks, yet the church is still evil.
Right.
So the deity itself that they worship is a force for good. It's just that humanity fucked it all up.
But I feel like in 1, they didn't talk a whole lot, and you just got holy water. And
Well,
so
yeah,
it's
of
kind of
course.
like, well, where does holy water come from? Oh, okay, well, we get where it kind of comes from. And that was that. And then in 2, you were going and getting, you were getting healed by priests.
By priests,
who
exactly.
never turned out to be evil. So
Yeah.
there was never a twist there. And honestly, if you play Castlevania 2, you can't get through that game unless you're going to priests. It's your it's an RPG base, so
Essentially,
you've got to
yes.
go there. So it's like, without them, there wouldn't have been a game, there would be no adventure, there's no way you would have been able to make it through there. So I think those are examples. I feel like there's probably other ones, but it's not, I don't know, too many times people just go into the same cycle of stuff.
I'm gonna throw another one in there just because I want to mention 2 more games. Resident Evil 4.
Well, that's kind of different because, let's face it, every one of those motherfuckers had a head parasite.
But they were this giant cult too.
Yeah, that were infested with head parasites.
Okay, Outlast 2.
I never played that, so I can't...
Yeah, Outlast 2, they had this entire religion about killing babies before the
fuck?
Yeah, killing babies before they were born because it would bring about this messiah of some kind. So they were every woman that was pregnant, they were ripping the baby out of the womb. It was fucked up.
I got a good one going back to Castlevania again. Dawn of Sorrow.
I don't remember.
Well, you know how in Aria of Sorrow, the
Yes.
castle returns because it's looking for a successor.
Yes.
And Soma Cruz, the character you play as, was chosen to become that successor.
Okay.
In Dawn of Sorrow, it picks up 1 year later, and there's this woman, I forget her name, I think it was Celia or something, and she's pretty much the main antagonist, because now she's trying to find a successor to replace Soma.
Okay.
As part of, to be Dracula's successor. And the reason for that is because in her mind, she's deeply religious. She's a deeply religious person. She leads a cult herself, and she says, well, in order for God to be inherently good, there has to be a devil. I will find that devil.
So in order for there to be good, there must be evil.
Exactly.
And for evil, there must be good.
That's why she's trying to bring about Dracula's resurrection in that game.
Okay.
Interesting take on
So
working backwards.
And a last little one I want to throw in there, only because it's one of my favorite games, and I'm not going to ruin the story because I know this is on our playlist, Mikey.
Yeah.
Lunar II.
Right.
They utilize the church to do a witch hunt of sorts.
Yeah.
In order to find this person, they utilize all the resources of the church to hunt somebody.
Yeah.
So, and that's not going more than an hour into the game, so I'm not ruining it.
Like a wild hunt.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this too. You mentioned if if it was, just because of where the games were made or where a lot of the
that was a thought.
And I think the other, I think that's a valid point, and I think it's become a trope. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why it became a trope. But the other issue too is the era of it, because you look at a lot of eras of when they took place, and you mentioned the Inquisition, and you mentioned these religious things that happened through politics and through manipulation, and a lot of those things are tagged on religious groups negatively when it was an extremist part of the group. But worldwide, or generally speaking, when you looked at that group, you thought of the extremist. So I think it's easier to grab that and use it as a trope, or to grab that and use it as sort of your era of writing and say, okay, cool, we're in this era, well, the Inquisition happened in this era, so maybe we should mirror that, and things like that to make it feel, I don't know if it's to make it feel realer, or because they're being lazy.
Like I said, going back, it's the same thing with, like how many evil organizations throughout video games were blatantly copied from the Nazis?
God damn it. I'm so tired of Nazi zombies. It's so overused.
Like, they just took that and went with it. Because it's...
I think that part is a little bit far off, because now you're going to the Nazi part versus the religion part.
True.
And you could go a totally different direction with the Nazi part.
Well, of course you can, but I'm just saying it's like, it's an easy...
But I think,
to draw from is what I'm trying to say.
I think he makes a point of it's an easy place to go to. It becomes a trope. Once enough people go back to that well and they see that it had success, then other people just borrow not from the source material, but from the success that came from it, and now it just turns into a trope.
Okay, so here's my question to the audience to end this conversation just a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you guys think of any American-based or non-Japan-based game developers or games that were developed outside of Japan that feature either good or evil perception of religion?
I think that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's definitely a challenge to find and put in the comments. Let us know what you guys find, especially good examples, because I feel like we rattled off.
It seems like we're going in a negative direction,
right?
But I seriously can't think of one or angle at one where the religion is just such a positive thing.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's always been negative.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, it's more like they paint gods in a positive light than the religion itself. The only game I could think of where God was painted in a negative light was Xenogears.
No, there's many that God was painted in a bad light. I'll give you an example. Breath of Fire 4.
Oh, yeah?
The dragon god is like, let's just wipe out humanity.
Right.
Fuck this shit, we're done.
Yeah. There's a lot of issues when it comes to storytelling with that, because then I don't know, it's just a whole thing you can get into. But
so I think that's a good way to start it out. If you guys want to talk about it more, or if you have any points that you think we should bring up for a part 2 of this series,
absolutely,
we would love to hear it. I'm trying not to be biased in it at all, but I think that's where religion in video games is pointing us. I
think so, and I think one of the things that, and I'll offer this counterpoint, is that I think it's easy for a writer or developer to say, we want to take even something that seems to be good and turn it evil, because you as the player are the good. So if you're going into a situation where, like, oh, we've got this big old church and we've got this amazing God and he's just going to wipe everything that's evil off the face of the planet, then you as a player go, well, why am I needed then?
Yeah, exactly.
So then it doesn't turn it into a responsibility on the player. Now it's just I'm kind of along for the ride.
Well, you could be an avatar.
You could.
An avatar of that religion.
I'm playing devil's advocate in a developer's mind.
And we're back to Ultima.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Any final thoughts? That's it. You're done.
So like and subscribe. Build statues of our Chibi's likenesses and put them in a shrine in your house and worship them.
One day,
you are our new religion. Kneel before us.
The people of the world will come together and build a statue to how much of an asshole you are. Take care.
Hey guys, don't forget, we really appreciate every single share, like, and sub.
It tells us what content you like the most.
It keeps us motivated and your favorite content coming.
Don't forget to check out our other videos.
And we'll see you next time on FrozenGaming.com.